There is a strange little theater that lives in a human mind. In this theater, you are always the main character. The lights are always on you. The camera is always pointed in your direction. And the audience? Well, according to your brain, the audience is everyone. Everyone watching, everyone judging, everyone remembering. But here's the quiet truth most people discover too late. Most of the audience isn't even looking at the stage. They are busy worrying about their own performance. Now, let's say you're a student, you're in a classroom, the teacher asks a question and you raise your hand. You're confident at first, but halfway through the answer, you realize you're wrong. The room goes quiet. A few people shift in their chairs. Maybe someone coughs, and in that moment, it feels like history is being written. Your brain says, great, now everyone thinks I'm stupid. You replay it later that night, then again the next day, then again 2 weeks later while you're busy brushing your teeth. But here's the part your brain never tells you. Everyone else in that room had their own moment like that. The guy sitting behind you was worrying about the time he called the teacher mom. The girl by the window was thinking about the time she tripped while walking to the board. Everyone is carrying their own little museum of embarrassing memories, and they are usually too busy walking through their own museum to visit yours. Now let's say you're a businessman and you say something during a meeting. Maybe it doesn't land right. Maybe the room goes quiet for a second too long. The brain immediately translates the silence into everyone thinks that was dumb. The rest of the meeting you sit there quietly. You stopped contributing. You replay the moment in your head again and again. But after the meeting ends, everyone leaves the room thinking about completely different things. One person is thinking about the traffic they're about to sit in. Another person is thinking about dinner. Someone else is thinking about the bill they forgot to pay. What you said earlier, it barely survives the elevator ride. Now let's say you're a shy one. You walk into a room and you immediately feel like you're on a stage. You walk into a party and suddenly you're aware of everything. How you're standing, what your hands are doing, whether your laugh sound weird, whether that joke made sense. You assume everyone noticed everything. But look carefully. The guy sitting across the room is worried his hair looks strange. The girl next to the drinks table is wondering if she talked too much earlier. The person you think is judging you is probably thinking, I hope I don't look awkward. Human beings are not nearly as observant as we imagine. We are overwhelmingly self-focused. There's actually a name for this. Psychologists call it the spotlight effect. It means we constantly feel like a spotlight is shining directly on us. But in reality, everyone else is standing under their own spotlight too. And those lights are blinding, which means they can barely see you at all. Now here's where things get interesting. At first, this idea can feel depressing. You might think, so I don't matter? But look at it another way. If people aren't watching you as closely as you thought, then many of the fears controlling your life aren't real. The fear of saying the wrong thing, the fear of looking awkward, the fear of being judged, the fear of trying something new and failing, most of those fears exist in a theater that only you are sitting in. Think about how much of your life has been shaped by imagined judgment. The outfits you didn't wear, the questions you didn't ask, the person you didn't talk to, the opportunity you didn't take. All because somewhere in your mind there was an invincible audience. But that audience was mostly fictional. Here's something else worth remembering. Try this experiment. Now think about the last embarrassing thing someone else did. Now actually pause and really try. It's harder than you think, right? Well, because most of the embarrassing moments you witness, you forget within hours. Your brain treats them like historical events, but everyone else's brain treats them like background noise. Human memory is selfish. It prioritizes the moments that happen to us, which means your embarrassing moment is a vivid movie in your own head and a blurry photograph in someone else's head. Maybe that's a stretch. And this realization can quietly change the way you live, because once you understand that people aren't watching you as closely as you thought, you gain a strange freedom. You can speak a little more honestly, you can try things without rehearsing every outcome, you can laugh at yourself more easily, you can exist without constantly editing your personality for an audience. Imagine waking up tomorrow with this truth fully accepted. You walk into class, you answer questions without rehearsing them 10 times in your head. You walk into work, you speak without wondering how every sentence will be judged. You walk into a room full of strangers and instead of feeling like you're on a stage, you realize everyone else feels just as awkward as you do. Suddenly the world feels lighter, less like a performance, more like a shared confusion. Because the truth is, everyone is improvising. Students, businessmen, couples, shy people, confident people, even the people who look like they have everything figured out. They are all walking around with their own insecurities, their own embarrassing memories, their own 3 a.m. thoughts. And while you're lying in bed replaying something you did 5 years ago, someone else is lying in bed replaying something they did 5 years ago too. Not yours, theirs, which means something strange and comforting at the same time. You are not as judged as you fear, and you are not alone as you think. Everyone is busy being the main character in their own complicated story. And in most of those stories, you appear briefly, a passing scene, a small memory, then the story moves on without you. So the next time your brain tells you everyone is thinking about what you did, pause for a moment and remember something simple. They probably aren't. They are too busy thinking about their own thing. And that quiet realization might be one of the most freeing thoughts a person can have.